What is a bump offer? A bump offer is an additional offer on the order form. Typically you see it as like a checkbox, something similar to this, right? You see this now where you can add something to the offer. So this is basically now, this is not an upsell, this is not a downsell, this is right on the order form, and this is a bump offer. So you're bumping up the offer right on the order form. Now there's a couple things here. So this was when I did this bundle, this Robert Cialdini bundle for his book. Like I did this interview with him, and
what was the offer before?
So yeah, let me think for 1 second. So I believe the offer before this. Okay, I got it. So I remember. So we did a promotion for Robert Cialdini for his book. This was actually for my company. So for MFA that we did, where we were giving away a free copy of his book. You got it? So we were giving So we were giving away a free copy of his book. Do you remember?
It was a free plus shipping book offer.
It was a free plus shipping book offer? Okay, so free plus shipping book offer. And did you get this?
I did not take it.
You motherfucker. All right, out. Get it? Yeah, true. You're right. See that? Right, I take back everything that I was just about to say about you. And so it was a free plus shipping on his thing. And that was a really interesting deal. You know, it's really funny. So I believe, I talked about this campaign. I'm going to deviate for 1 second. I know I promised you guys 348, but that's not happening. So there's what I call the borrowed book funnel. And this was something that I've talked about a couple of years ago after we did this campaign, right after we did this campaign. So the borrowed book funnel is a really interesting thing because I didn't own the rights to that book. I didn't even really negotiate a great deal. Like I forget what we paid for the book was very close to retail for the book, and it was this big monster freaking book, and so it cost his book, right? And so, but then what I did was I got on the phone with him. Right, he promised, he said, like if you guys promote the book, blah, 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 like we had a private conversation. I told him I'm going to record it, I'm going to transcribe it, I'm going to include it in the offer. So part of the offer was, right, I was giving away the book, and it was like plus my notes, my personal private notes. It was a recording of the call, was it? A recording of the call. I think the transcript of the call, something like that. And so that was the core offer. Then what I did was I created the unofficial Persuasion crash course. And all I did was really turn my notes. I took my notes and I created a slide deck. And I did like a 2.5 hour presentation on, I took my notes, I turned it onto a slide deck on, I included a cheat sheet. We did the audio version. I think we did a transcript of my training, and we bundled it and we offered it for $29. Now the thing to understand is that this, when we first launched that, it was about 53%, a 53% take rate. So call it, for argument's sake, to keep things real simple, it was 50%. Half of the buyers who took advantage of the book took advantage of this. What that means is that this bump offer on the order form was worth almost $15. This increased average order value by almost $15, just having this one thing here. That changes the game. That changes things radically, right? That one offer, that one bump offer changed that entire campaign.
When you see 53%, then do you go, oh man, maybe next time I could have charged 47 or 37 because I could have made more?
Sure. And
53% is high.
Yeah, it's killer.
Crazy.
So here's my this is my water or your water?
I don't think it's mine.
Okay.
I didn't have any. So
You didn't have any water? Okay.
I got this.
So I'm funny in this way, in that once a campaign is working, I leave it. Like, we were talking about this during your intensive, like, once a campaign is working, I leave it, man. I shift from marketing to scaling. Meaning, if I've got a campaign that's now at break even, I don't need any more. I'm not trying to it's at break even. I don't need it to do better than break even. Break even is fine because I'm going to acquire customers for free. Now I just want to focus on scaling and dumping as many people in there as I possibly can. Because, right, what am I going to do? Am I going to optimize it and then am I going to make $1, $2 per, profit, or $3? And then I'm not trying to make money on that thing. I'm trying to get as many customers as I possibly can. And so I leave it. And so unless a campaign didn't work, where I'm like, man, this didn't work, but I wonder if we up this to 39, and at 39 maybe we got 40% or something like that, right? And it would have been worth even more if we would have upped it. But in this case, the point that I'm trying to make for you is now look, I don't remember what the exact offer. It was probably was it?
I don't remember.
Yeah, you don't remember what that? But let's say it was a free plus shipping gig, and I believe that one was a little bit more expensive because we wanted to try to cover fulfillment as best as we could. But let's say it was, for argument's sake, let's say it was $10. Right? And now understand, on that particular offer, he's paying $10. That $10 probably only covered the cost of the book for us and shipping, right? If it even covered our cost there, right? And so in this example, we still had acquisition costs. And now I just made $15 back by having this one bump. The whole entire campaign would have changed if we didn't have that bump. That's the truth. It would have changed if we didn't have that bump. This is an example of a bump. It's another example that, depending on this is on our book, on our big idea book. So I don't even know exactly what this is. This is get instant access to the big marketing, fast way to get new customers, full HD training, audio, handouts, big marketing idea execution guide, everything, $37. $37. The interesting thing here is, I believe on this bump, this is a little bit over 30% take on this. Now, the folks that are being offered this are the buyers of the book. So the book is $7. Okay? The book is $7 on the order form for the book. Yeah, the book is $7 on the order form for the book. They can check this box and add this $37. It'll appear down here. $37. It's about a 30%, a little bit over 30% take rate on this. Now look at that. $37, right? $37 at 30%. You're talking, this bump offer is worth more than the actual product is worth itself. So with just having this bad boy right here, we take what would have been a $7 order, right, and we bump it up to 17. Does everybody see how I do that math? Because you.
I don't see how you do the math. How do you get a 17?
Okay.
Adding 37 to 7.
Okay, so
Only for a third.
got it. Okay, so this is, and I actually have a slide later on for this, but I'll explain this now. So 37. So the way that we do, what we're talking about here is contribution to AOV. How much money does this contribute to the average order value? Remember, what we're talking about is average order value. So we're not talking, we're talking an average. If we put 100 customers through this bad boy, what on average does each customer spend? Is the average, some spend more, some spend less, some just buy the book, some buy the book, this and every other offer in there. What is the average? So we know that when we're talking average order value, 100% of buyers buy the main product, right? That's everybody. So the average order value automatically starts off with the value of whatever the first thing is that they're buying. In this case, it's $7. But then we look at, we're selling this for 37, but only 30% of the people buy this. So what is 30% of 37? Who can do the exact number? What's 30% of 37?
12.33.
12.33, okay?
No, I'm sorry.
9, yes.
No, it's over. 11. Call it 11. $11. So you see how, and this is important, right? So 30% of 37 is $11. That means that on average, this is worth on average $11 more per buyer. Right, we know that only 1 out of 3 buy it, but if you average it, which is what we're doing with average order value, it's worth $11. That means that it's 11 plus the 7, it's 18.
Right.
So now we have an average order value, right? We have an average order value of 18, just with these two things right here. See, that's monumental. If you understand, right, you start to look at media, that's monumental. We took what would have been 7 and now we made it 18. Now if we want, right, so before, if we wanted to try to break even, we could only spend 7. Now if we wanted to break even, we could spend 18. Huge difference. Couple of things. So I try to, this is a couple of things with this because I can't imagine going with a lower cost front end without having a bump. I really truly can't imagine doing it without a bump. Couple things. Number one, I want you to remember the conversation that we had about the bonuses. What did I say about the bonuses? I said when it comes to bonuses, don't pull them off the shelf. Don't ask yourself, what do we have in stock? What's sitting on the shelf? What do we got that we could throw in here? Wrong. That is the mistake. You have to ask yourself, what is a sexy bump offer? Like, what is compelling? What is congruent with what it is that we're offering here? What would make it a no-brainer? Right, so I said to myself with things like, things like this, I said, man, somebody's going to spend, $10, $11 to get Robert Cialdini's book, his newest book. Wouldn't they spend $29 to get a multimedia course on it, like a full-blown crash course? Like, right? I always think of me. Like, I think if I was buying the book, if I was buying a book on a topic, right, I buy books all the time. If I was buying a book and I was buying a book for $10, $11, $12 and I was offered a video course on the thing with a cheat sheet and all this for $29, man, right?
All day.
I'm taking it all day is great. Exactly. And so that's, right, I thought about, right, what kind of offer is going to be a no-brainer. I'm not thinking about what type of offer can I get 3 out of 10 people to buy or 2 out of 10. That's not, I'm thinking about what would be like ridiculous, where everybody would be like, why the heck wouldn't I do this? It's nuts. It's a crazy value proposition. First of all, this legitimately, and if you remind me, I'll give you access to this.
Well, I just actually searched my email. I only bought the crash course, $29, I guess, with conversion snaps trial. So it might have been a different. I was in the buyer's list already. So
Oh, I don't even know. Okay, so you have it already. You see that?
Yeah.
What I was going to say was this, but you see, I did volunteer to give you this course. I'll give you, believe me, I have other stuff for you guys. This, you go through this, you play around even later, you see, this was legitimately, like, this is a rock solid course that I could sell all day long. This was phenomenal. Like a full-blown 2.5-hour course, beautiful, the whole 9. The point is, right, I said to myself, what would be insanely valuable? I didn't, also, as a side note, I didn't say what would feel valuable. That's a big difference. That's a different question, right? What would feel valuable? What would seem valuable? That's not how I thought. I thought, what is the market, what would be insanely valuable, that the market would find insanely valuable, that they would be head over heels thrilled to get. Same thing with this one, in my opinion, much better we did, but what would somebody who's buying a book want? More video training, more hands-on. We've actually, I believe, enhanced this even more since then to make it more enticing, even more valuable. And so the first thing is, though, that you want it to be an impulse purchase. What that means is that you don't want to price it so that it's a bump offer. I want you to think of it as an impulse buy, as if you're checking out of the grocery store. You know, like if I go to the grocery store to pick something up and I stand around, if there's a line, I'm looking at the cam, looking at, do I need that flashlight? You know what I mean? Do I need hair ties for some odd reason? Like, right? I'm looking at these things. They're impulse buys. They're inconsequential. You don't have to go into full-blown decision-making mode. And so I'm trying to keep it within a, like, where it's expendable money. right? So it doesn't take a huge decision to spend another 29 bucks or 24 bucks. I do think that when you get to 35, 36, 37 and up, you start to get into like, that's, that's a little bit where I now need to decide. But 20, 22, 23, you know what I'm saying? That 24, 25, that price point is much more of an impulse. But that's what you want it as. So I've seen bump offers where people had $97. That's too much. That's too much. Now, what I will say is this. If you have a front end that is, hypothetically, if you're selling something that's 800 bucks, I understand if you had a $97, bump. But for most, knowing what you know about scalable pricing and scalability, you want something that is a no-brainer. And recognize this, like I showed you, a $29 bump, right? $29, $25 bump can add significant value to your order, right? It can add significant value to your order. Next is you want congruence. And so this means that